Sarah didn't believe in superfoods. A trained dietitian, she was skeptical of any miracle remedies. Which is exactly why, when she decided to eat 1 clove of garlic every day for 2 weeks, she did it as a personal experiment, not out of hope for a miracle. She kept a journal, documented everything, and what she recorded, day by day, made her completely rethink what she knew about ordinary food. Because what happens inside your body within 30 minutes of eating a crushed garlic clove is not folk medicine. It's biochemistry, and it begins immediately. The moment Sarah crushed the first clove, a process most people know nothing about was set in motion. The enzyme allicin, activated only when garlic cells are damaged, converts the inactive compound allicin into allicin. Allicin is what gives garlic its sharp smell, and within the next 30 minutes, it enters the bloodstream. Sarah didn't feel it, but her blood vessels did. By the end of the first day, allicin was already stimulating nitric oxide production in the walls of her arteries. Nitric oxide is a signaling molecule that causes the smooth muscle in blood vessel walls to relax. The vessels dilate. The heart does less work with each beat. A 2016 meta-analysis covering 20 clinical trials showed that regular garlic consumption lowers systolic blood pressure by an average of 8 to 9 millimeters of mercury in people with hypertension. Sarah had mildly elevated blood pressure. She didn't know it yet, but her body was already beginning to respond. On day 3, she noticed the first physically perceptible change. Less bloating after meals, not dramatically, but noticeably. And this is no coincidence. Allicin acts as a selective antimicrobial agent in the gut. Unlike antibiotics, it doesn't wipe out everything indiscriminately. Studies show it primarily suppresses pathogenic bacteria, Helicobacter pylori, Candida, while preserving beneficial microflora. Sarah's microbiome was beginning to rebalance, quietly, without her awareness. There's a detail here that Sarah knew as a dietitian, but most people miss. If you crush garlic and immediately throw it into a hot pan, most of the allicin is destroyed by heat before it fully forms. You need to wait 10 minutes after crushing. 10 minutes, and you get several times more of the active compound. Sarah waited every time. By the end of the first week, something she hadn't expected happened. She was sleeping better. Not perfectly, but more deeply. And while the direct connection between garlic and sleep quality is still being studied, there's a mechanism that explains it indirectly. S-allyl-cysteine, another garlic compound, activates the enzyme glutathione peroxidase. Glutathione is often called the body's master antioxidant. It doesn't come from outside like vitamin C. It's synthesized inside cells, and when oxidative stress levels drop, the nervous system operates in a less inflammatory mode. Sleep becomes deeper, recovery more complete. But there was another process happening in parallel, one Sarah couldn't see in any blood test. At the cellular level, telomeres are the protective caps on the ends of chromosomes. Each time a cell divides, they shorten a little. When telomeres become too short, the cell stops dividing. This is one of the fundamental mechanisms of aging. And here's what's interesting. Oxidative stress accelerates telomere shortening. Free radicals literally speed up the biological clock at the DNA level. Research shows that garlic's antioxidant compounds, particularly S-allyl-cysteine and flavonoids, reduce oxidative DNA damage. They don't stop aging, but they slow one of its key mechanisms. Sarah wasn't thinking about this while eating her daily clove, but her cells were receiving protection. On day 8, Sarah had her blood drawn, planned as part of the experiment. Total cholesterol had dropped by 11 milligrams per deciliter compared to her baseline. LDL was down 9 milligrams per deciliter, modest. But here's the important thing to understand. It's not just about the numbers. Garlic increases the activity of peroxidase MA1, an enzyme that protects LDL from oxidation, and it's oxidized LDL that actually damages artery walls. So her blood wasn't just getting cleaner on paper. It was becoming less aggressive toward her vessels. Her immune system was changing in parallel. A clinical study published in Advances in Therapy showed that people who consumed garlic extract daily for 12 weeks got colds 63% less often, and those who did get sick recovered twice as fast. The mechanism: stimulation of lymphocyte proliferation and increased natural killer cell activity. On day 9, Sarah's colleague came to work with a cold. Within a week, it had spread through the entire office. Sarah didn't get sick. By the end of the second week, she recorded something in her journal that she couldn't explain by lab results alone. More energy in the afternoon, less craving for sweets after lunch, a more stable mood. And again, there's a mechanism. Garlic moderately stabilizes blood glucose levels by reducing the activity of enzymes that break down carbohydrates in the small intestine. Smaller blood sugar spikes mean smaller energy crashes, less craving for quick carbohydrates during those low points. On day 14, Sarah wrote one sentence in her journal: "I underestimated ordinary food," not because garlic cured her of anything, not because a miracle happened, but because 2 weeks of consistency showed her something more important. The body responds to what you give it every day, not to what you take once a month in capsule form. To a daily, ordinary, cheap garlic clove, If you know how to prepare it properly and give it time to work, 1 clove, 10 minutes of waiting after crushing, every day, for 2 weeks. That's all it takes for your body to begin responding. Would you try repeating Sarah's experiment? Write in the comments and share what surprised you most in this video.